podcast created by one-to-one-help.net, your EAP service partner. We at One-to-One Help offer counseling as a part of our services and believe that it is an extremely helpful and necessary tool in today's age. Counseling, or having a session with a counselor, helps one deal with various kinds of concerns and allows one to make the changes required for their own well-being. Hence, we would now be presenting a counseling session to give you a look into what a session between a client and a counselor typically looks like. Please note, this recording is a simulated conversation and has not used any identifying details or any information shared by anyone.
Good afternoon, Akanksha. It's good to see you again. How are you doing today?
Hi, it's good. It's good to see you too. I've been better, and it's been almost 2 months, I think.
Yes, it has. And I'm glad to hear that you're doing better. How have things been on your end?
Pretty good, actually. I think that these 2 months were very different from when I first came in. Yeah.
That is interesting. I think that is what we kept this session today for, to see how you have progressed and how different things have been after counseling. What makes you say that things are different now, though?
You know how I was when I first came in. I was so frustrated and so helpless. I felt like I had nowhere to go, and I actually did not even come for this. Like, I almost didn't. I remember I was just pacing down my office feeling super stressed, and it was only when I saw a poster that I was like, you know what, why not give this a shot? So there was a poster by One-to-One Help, and that had the toll-free number, and I called and I asked, not knowing what it was going to be about, not knowing what I was getting myself into. But then I was like, what do I have to lose? So
Yeah. I do remember you saying that you did not know what to expect from counseling and how new this process was to you. Do you think that has changed over time?
I definitely think it did. If I'm being honest, I think it was very strange to open up to a complete stranger, someone I didn't know at all. But you actually made sure that I was comfortable, and you explained the process to me, and I think that really helped. And I think the most important thing was that you didn't judge me. Even when I talk to my friends, I know that they have the best interest in mind, but they're so close that sometimes they kind of don't realize when they're judging me. And you didn't do that. You didn't give me advice, or you didn't judge any personal information that I shared.
I'm glad to hear that, and I think that could happen with a lot of people because of the kind of apprehensions that one might have when they come in for counseling. Would you want to talk about how things are different right now and maybe what has changed in the last 2 months as well?
Yeah, I think when I came in for counseling, I was quite overwhelmed, and I never saw what my concerns were distinctly. I remember thinking that I'm incapable of handling anything. I was all over the place, and it took me at least a couple of sessions to even open up to you about them.
I do understand how you must be feeling, and one can often feel that way, especially when there are so many stressors affecting us at one point in time, right?
Yeah. I felt like I was carrying this big burden. I was unable to kind of break it down, but I think one thing that counseling really helped me with was to divide the areas where this unmanaged stress was coming from, and I learned to, like you say, label my thoughts and feelings about it.
That is absolutely great to hear, and I'm so glad to see that there has been this change in the way you think. And I think we often engage in wishful thinking that this is how a situation should be, or we engage in avoidance, like I'm too afraid to ask my manager about something. And both of them are unhealthy ways of responding to stress.
Right.
Finding out more effective ways of coping with stress is definitely a good idea.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And maybe it would be a good idea if you could try and understand where you stand with the concerns that you came in with and how your response to that has changed over time.
Sure, I would actually like that.
Okay. So when you first came in, you had appeared for your CA examination, but were unable to get through, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, this was something that you were counting on for your career growth, and I'm sure that it must have been devastating to deal with that. So I'm just wondering, how do you feel about that right now?
Oh God, I felt like my entire life depended on it, and that I would never be able to do anything else ever again. And I kept badgering myself for it. I kept doubting myself all the time. But you really helped me realize that this was not the end of it. I especially remember, when we did that exercise, when we made a list of all my career achievements and all the goals that I had achieved in the past, and that really reminded me of my strengths. And because of this one failure, I kind of lost perspective of all things that I had done successfully. But talking about them in counseling really helped me remember them.
I'm glad to hear you say that, and I also believe that this was similar to how you felt about your parents. And you felt that you had been unable to give your parents a certain lifestyle. And I remember us talking about your feelings of disappointment in yourself, anger that you were not able to give what they should have received, right?
God, I was so angry. I was angry at myself, at my situation. I kept feeling like I should have done more or I should be doing more. And, I did not even pause to think about how I was feeling. And just expressing that made me feel lighter. And I never thought that would happen.
I think that comes down to us being more aware. The more aware you are of your feelings, the better you are able to handle it.
Yeah, I think that was actually one of the biggest turning points for me. I had never once communicated with my parents about how I was feeling. And, that's funny because we were living in the same house. I assumed that they wanted me to give them more money or a better lifestyle. But when I actually spoke to them about what they expected from me, only then did I realize that, all they wanted was for me to be happy and to take care of them. And I was already doing that, but I wasn't paying attention to my own happiness. So I distinctly remember this. I think it was called patterns. You said that, I wasn't communicating in a healthy pattern with my parents. And when we were able to do that, when we were able to have a healthy conversation, I think that really opened up a whole new world for us, that it made us stronger, it made us closer, and now we act as support systems for each other.
I'm quite happy to hear that, and I know that this has been a journey for you, and it has not been easy. But I'm glad to hear that you've been able to get through it. Recognizing your behaviors that don't work and rectifying them, reaching out to support systems are definitely good ways of handling the situation. So, Akanksha, you've done a really good job.
Thanks. I really have you to thank, but I'm so glad that I did this. And I'm sure that, I'll take these pointers and these learnings with me even in the future.
Yeah, and I hope you continue doing so. And I hope that counseling is something that has been helpful for you.
It has.
Yeah, and if you ever wish to come in again for any of your concerns, then feel free to reach out to us and know that the doors are always open for you to come in for counseling. Right?
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, back to all of you listening out there. As you may have noticed in counseling, the client was able to explore and understand their concerns and find solutions to resolve them. This was done over time and by using the client's own skills. So, this was a short reflection of what a counseling session might seem like. I hope that this was helpful and you had some takeaways from it. If you want to take a session yourself, you can do that by logging on to www.one-to-one-help.net or call our toll-free number 1-800-270-1790. Keep tuning into this space to listen to more interesting topics by One-to-One Help. Thank you.